So one of the first things we talk about whenever we read this book is that when you're influencing without authority, it's not about you. It's about the people you're trying to influence. You got to understand what their motivations are.
And people from different business units will have different agendas. And if you are a layover, what's it called? Layover?
Overlay.
Layover is when you fly for a long distance.
That's a layover.
That's a layover.
Your
it's
mind's
Friday.
on vacation mode.
Yes, my mind is on the weekend already, and I can't wait.
If you're overlay, not an overlay, but seem to be an unnecessary overlay.
And you're touching different business units and trying to make them fall in line with the new process that you're trying to implement. Gosh, it's gonna be tough.
And especially if they do not see the need, or because it's working fine, what are you doing here, right?
Because some teams might need the extra decimal spaces, and some teams can't be bothered with it.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to talk to different units, they will all have different ideas about what to do.
It's interesting because when I was in Shell, we had this as sales and marketing, we want to drive revenue as much as we can, right?
Yes.
But every time we try to do it, a new contract client coming in, operations will go, can we have the capacity for that? We'd rather not do it.
Yeah.
And then the legal department will go like, this cannot be done, because they have their agenda, right? They have to. So
and even in your own team, because you are after the top line, but your leader might be after the margins. And so you want to close the deal, but then your leaders are going, no, this is not good enough. So I guess what we're trying to say is that if one of the things about influencing is to understand who you're talking to and what drives them. And once you know what drives them, then your communication will be a little bit more tailored to the people you're talking to.
Which also means you have to reach out to them and talk to them.
Yeah.
And get their point of view.
And it might delay your execution.
Yeah. But I think it's still important to understand where they're coming from,
I just
what their
heard
concerns
myself
are, right?
delay my execution. I think I'm going to get my head locked off.
in more ways than one, yeah. So it's important for you to sit down and understand where they're coming from. If they're resisting, why are they resisting? It could, once again, it could be rational, it could be irrational, it could be an ego thing.
Yeah, and whatever you do, don't escalate on them and force it down. That's going to be just rough for the next project that you got to run.
But sometimes you might have to.
You might have to.
It depends also a lot.
But I'm always very cautious about stepping on the toes of the people you have to work with today, because
they might be attached to the ass that you have to kiss
tomorrow. So that's, again, we want to have positive interactions with our colleagues. Yeah. So that's what we're after.
So it is important for you to understand their motivations and understand their perspectives. And the tricky part is not just understanding their motivations, but how do you align their motivations to yours?
Yeah. And once I understand it, so what? Yeah. If I'm still going to be belligerent about it, it's not going to make any difference. Yeah, I understand where he's coming from, it still needs to get done.
Yeah, so we had this client who was in sales and trying to sell more products.
Yeah.
Okay. And unfortunately, the supply chain guys were not helping because they're saying that we are so overloaded already. And, we cannot take more of these products. If you're selling, you're increasing the volume. You want to 3X. We can't 3X. And what was interesting was that he understood their concerns. What he did was he said to them, look, the new products I'm pushing are actually low volume products, higher margin, low volume products. So what's going to happen is the more we sell, the less you do actually, because there are less physical products going through, and these are smaller. So you actually have more time to align all your operational bits. And they like the idea. So sometimes you need to understand what their motivations are.
And express them appropriately.
Yeah, and what they want. It's like negotiating with kids sometimes.
Right. So if you go brush your teeth now, you can have the lollipop later.
That's a bribe. That's not negotiation, but that's a bribe. But it works.
It's the same difference.
So you have to figure out what the motivations are, which means an outreach, and you have to understand where they are and align them to yours. And you might require some creativity on it as well.
Yeah. And so starting point, understanding. And then after that, you can help yourself build more trust and rapport with the person. So understanding is stage one.
Yeah.
Then stage two is building those bonds that make working with each other a little bit smoother.